What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're keeping well. If you're new, like and subscribe. This video is all about what Tottenham need in the rest of the window. So realistically, where I think the holes are. I'm also talking about realistically what we can do in what is just less than a week remaining now. So I think we can all agree there's more to be done, hopefully, for Tottenham in the transfer window, and it hasn't all been plain sailing and rosy. Let's get straight into it. So firstly, I want to review the transfer window so far. I think what we've done has been good in terms of Kudus and Paulini. I think they're very good, and making the likes of Danso permanent. So what we have done, the recruitment, which you haven't been able to say about Tottenham in recent years, has been good, but we need to go further and faster, is what I would say in theory. And for me, there's 4 obvious holes or gaps in the Spurs team. We're not going to fill all of them before the end of the window. They are, bear with me, left back or right back. So I'm going to generalise that and say full back, and that purely depends on whether they see Spencer left back or right back. They might see him as a player who can play both. If they now see Spencer left back, it would be a right back. But otherwise, if Spencer goes back to right back when a doggy's back, it's a left back for a doggy. So for now, full back, centre back, number 10, and a left winger. 4 positions where I think we either need to add quality or depth. Some cases both. And let me talk you through why I think that. I'm not silly, I know we're not going to do that for the end of the window, but I'm talking about holes, and then I talk about priorities for this window and what is essential and what's ideal. So firstly, full back cover, that would be ideal. This is just ideal, would be nice, to have. We've got a doggy, Spence and Porro. I think for me, Davis should be a 5th, what I call really, 5th full back and real backup fullback, only really there for experience, to do his coaching badges, to help people settle an absolute last ditch result. That's how I see him. He shouldn't be, for me, a backup left back. That's what I don't want it to be when we're playing Champions League football. If we weren't playing Champions League football, we're playing Conference League or no Europe at all, it'd be a little bit more acceptable. Centre back, I think, is important. At the moment, Vuskovic could go on loan. We're really short in that area. Number 10, we've been looking for a long while. We've got to remember we failed to land serious targets. We've had injury setbacks. A left winger as well, haven't really replaced Son. So what is essential out of those 4 positions in the rest of the window? You could make a really good case that 3 are essential for this window, in a left winger, a number 10, and a centre back. Here's why. Centre back we're going to start with because it's further down the field. Well, if we let Vuskovic leave on loan, which is probably right for his development, so that'd be right for the club, right for the player, then that just leaves us currently 3 fit centre-backs in Van der Ven, Romero and Danso, because Dragusin's injured and Takai is injured. Dorrington and Phillips have gone on loan. So that's a real problem. We could be hurting and hindering Vuskovic development by stopping going on loan if we don't bring in a replacement. So that's really significant, because that's not a lot, having 3 centre-backs, considering Frank can and likes to occasionally turn to a back 3. That's very, very dangerous. You can make a very big case for that. Left winger, we haven't replaced Heung-min Son. I think left hand side, Odebeck can play there and do a job. Tell can play there and do a job. Johnson could play there and do a job. And a number 10, well, need I say any more? We failed to land both Eze and Gibbs-White. And we were in for Gibbs-White before Maddison done his ACL. Now we've lost Maddison pretty much for the season, if not the majority, if not all of it. Gibbs-White we failed to get. Kulusevski's been pushed back now, his injury, for a few months until the new year. So it's just been disastrous. We're like 2 or 3 short in number 10 positions. It's just absolutely disastrous, is a way of saying it. But out of those 4 positions, 2 are essential for me, I've decided. 2. Number 10 and a centre-back. So if Tottenham would just decide 2 more players for the rest of the window, it would have to be a 10 and a centre-back for me. Spoken about, 10 is absolutely essential. We really lack creativity, so that's why Frank deserves credit for getting Tottenham players, for scoring 5 goals in those 2 games and managing to create and cause problems. But we lack that real kind of creative spark in the team, something that Eze Gibbs-White brings. I'm very worried that the club will panic buy and think, we need to get someone in, which they do. I think they would be really feeling the pressure now, knowing that they need to do a lot more. Really, we should be signing a left winger. There's no doubt about it. We should have replaced Son. It's quite criminal not to. However, I think that can wait till January, if not next summer. Ideally, just January, because, as I said, Johnson's currently doing well there. Tell, I don't think we'll be playing many minutes. I think Odebear's ahead of him. But there's players that can do a job there. If Richie absolutely has to, he can step in on the left. Same with Mohamed Kudus. So we can make do with left wing. Shouldn't have been in this situation, by the way. We should have got both Eze and Savinha. Should have been a lot sorted earlier. And just number 10 is an absolute must. Out of all the positions, you said to me, Harry, for some reason, which would be really poor, Tottenham only signed one more player in the rest of the window, I'd go, it'd have to be a number 10. That's just been a position that's dragged on. We've taken over a month to find a Maddison replacement since he got injured. Arsenal took him a few days. Don't like to compare with him, but that's the reality. So there's 4 holes in this Tottenham squad that could be strengthened. But the frustrating thing is, we know that Daniel Levy and the club will be looking at it and going, Tottenham won their opening 2 games. Frank, do you really need that much? We're in a good position, whereas we've lost the first 2 games. Let's say we lose badly to City and somehow lose to Burnley. We probably would have signed someone by now. It would have prompted action, and that for me just doesn't sit right. We should be trying to stay in this position, try and be competitive. I just feel Frank's a very good manager, got a very good 11. If you get a couple of injuries, you won't get as much surely as last season or the season before under Ange because of the system, but we get a couple of players injured, it just crumbles. It's like, a house. One brick falls, the whole house is going to come absolutely crashing and smashing down to pieces and ash. That's the real problem we've got. So we need better substitutes to be able to impact games, to change games. And we saw against PSG, the substitutes weren't good enough. Even Man City, they make their subs, they look better. We make our subs, we look very similar. We need substitutions that can improve and change the game in our favour, or keep it in our favour, or keep with the momentum, or change the momentum of the game. So 4 holes in the Spurs team that need addressing. Left back, I'm going to say probably generalise the full back. Centre back, 10, and left winger. The essentials are centre back and number 10. If you said to me, we sign the number 10 and we sign left winger, if we sign a number 10 and we sign a centre back in the rest of this window, I'll go, okay, I'm happy with that. It's a decent window. We should have done more, should have got it done earlier, but I'm happy. So for me, in terms of targets, full back I'm going to leave to a side. Well, maybe briefly discuss, because it's not going to happen. Frank says he's happy with Davis. There's not even in consideration, so we don't need to worry too much about that. For me, real intent is you sign Robinson. You have Porro and Spence, hypothetically, as your right-sided options as fullback, and Robinson and Doggy on that left-hand side. That'd be the dream, but it's not going to happen. Centre-back, Hincapié is a serious option. It looks like Arsenal are running the race at the moment. He's preferred to move to Arsenal, which is a real shame. It's embarrassing and frustrating on its own that players are stubborn and rejecting us. A couple to join Arsenal. It's frustrating. I think it's the ambition of the club, unfortunately, but you can't help some players' decisions. But Hincapié would be a good option. Apart from that, I'm not too sure about how many are out there. Mark Gahey, for me, feels a no-brainer for about 40 million around about. I think Palace could be in a position to sell. Maybe less so. They've got Eze gone, but they don't want to leave it on the free. Steve Parrish has been quite open about that, so maybe that's something that we could explore. But again, we don't want 2 top centre-backs at the club. They don't get minutes. It all depends, I suppose, how much Frank plans to play back 3. Plays back 3, then we need someone like Mark Gahey, another top centre-back, along with Romero and Van der Ven, with Jaggerson being out. Dante's a decent defender, but it's not world-class. Left winger targets, I think it has to be Savinha. I think it's just the deal that's really dragged on, but I think he'd be a real good addition to this team. I think he's the type of profile we want. And number 10 is a limited market. I feel, as I said, we will panic buy and get the option wrong. We've been linked to the likes of Nico Pass, Magnus Aklios. For me, it would be Lewis Paquetá. I just fancy the vibes of raiding West Ham again. But all jokes aside, been cleared of the match spot fixing incident. Real creative Brazilian. Already had Brazilians in this team, with Charlison, and they got on really well. And I just think creatively, it just makes so much sense. I think West Ham are in a real difficult situation. Paquetá might want to leave West Ham. Apart from that, there isn't too many other options I think we'll go for. Morgan Rogers would be ideal. Just don't see it happening. Villa have let Ramsey go unless there's PSR pressure to sell. I really don't see Rogers coming here. Inflated price as well, probably. We're talking 75, 80 million. And that's the ultimate problem we've got here. So, again, it's not a saturated market as it was. Struggling to find options. We just mustn't panic buy as much as I'd rather not get, if this makes sense, the number 10 than pay for a number 10. They aren't right for this squad. They aren't right for Frank. They aren't good enough. I don't want us to, like El Canute, I think would be a good option. I would rather him than going without, but again, it's just better options we can do. So you've got to get it right. As much as we need action, it shouldn't be a case of anything's better than nothing. We've got to make sure the player's right, as Frank said, to improve the squad, rather than not go there at all. So that's my thoughts on the rest of the window. If you had to say, Harry, hand and heart, what do you think you'll do? I think Tottenham will sign, I think they'll probably sign 2 more players. I'm being positive here. I think it will be, what do I think will happen? I think Luka Vuskovic will say, I think they've failed to get centre-back cover, but I think we'll sign Savinho, and I think we'll sign a number 10. If I had to predict, right now, on the spot, it's really difficult. By the way, Nico Pass, I don't think will happen at all. I think we'll sign Savinha and Magnus Aklios at Monaco. I think that'll be Tottenham's remaining of the window. Maybe by the time the video gets you, Tottenham will have signed someone, but we just need to get it done. We've got money, the fees are coming in, but we seem to be bidding for players that don't want Tottenham and players that are happy to go to Tottenham and have their bags packed. We're faffing around the fee. Shouldn't take 2 weeks like it did for Eze to get the deal done. We've got to get the player into this rate. It's taken too long. We knew about Madison's injury for a long while. We knew about the number 10 situation, and the club should be ashamed that they failed to address it so far. Good recruitment, hasn't gone far enough. If the window closed tonight, I'd rate the transfer window 5 out of 10. And that's being generous. I'd say Paulinho and Kudus are very good signings. That's what makes it really high. We've failed to address several key areas, and I'll argue there's probably 4 gaps. We're never going to fill all the gaps in the transfer window. It's not possible. 3 should be filled now, in my opinion, and 1 in January, but it's not going to happen now, even if 2 could be filled. Full-back cover can absolutely wait. Even centre-back could wait. It'd be ideal, though. It's got to prove that attack. Attack's the best form of defence. We've proven under Frank defensively strong, but we need to be scoring more goals, putting teams away, ultimately. But those are my thoughts on the rest of the window. Let's hope for a busy week in terms of Tottenham and transfer activity. For now, a massive COYS Spurs. Thanks for watching. If you're new, like and subscribe.